Okay.
All right, Paul, so on this noisy intersection where the trucks will pass.
What intersection is it?
Well, we are at 9th and Republican right now.
How appropriate.
And it's, by the time we get this online, it's going to be Halloween. So maybe we should wish people a happy and haunted Halloween.
We have been encumbered with extra treats this week because we want to intercut a lot of other pictures, and so we have to experiment a bit. In fact, we brought along this marvelous tool, but Gene says that it reflects too much light, and we're outdoors, as you can hear. So I'm just going to use this as a device for keeping my order for the things that we might consider. But being here at 9th and Republican, 9th right here, Republican over there, we're very close to the place where Gene stood to do his repeat and where the historical photographer stood to do his shot back in, what was it, April of 1907, I think. And that location was right across here, right across the street. Now, that shot was part of an album that the local dealer in ephemera and postcards, Michael Maslin, loaned to me for copy, and it's just rich with all sorts of photographs regarding the different locations for the Seattle Gas Company, which started in, 1873. Most of these pictures are from when they were moving from their old location, which we'll see in a moment, I hope, down on 5th and Jackson, to this location, and then to the location up on the north end of the Lake Union. But first of all, let's look at a couple of other pictures that are at this corner. For instance, here's one of the gas holder about a month earlier on March the 2nd, 1907, and you can see a close-up of that nice timbered structure that was somehow related to the gas tank, but I don't know how. And following that is another one from the same corner about 3 weeks later. And so those two pictures appear in that album. Most of the pictures, though, are of the construction on the gasworks, what we now know lovingly as the Gasworks Park at the north end of Lake Union. So behind us here, the length of one lake. You know how long the lake is?
I don't know how long it is. I could take a guess, but
What's your guess?
Well, my guess would be like 2.5 miles.
Okay, then my guess is 2 4/10 miles. I don't know.
Well,
it's something between 2 and 3, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
I'll look it up and I'll add a little text box.
I'd like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the readers or viewers would too.
Well, we're just going to be a font of information here.
Yeah. Now,
you know, my mother remembers looking down on gasworks when she was a kid in the 30s and seeing the flames lighting up the night.
Well, let me tell you, we get a picture in here somewhere, and it shows the flames lighting up the night in 1947.
Wow.
And
hold on, truck passing.
Well, the truck's passed.
Okay, go ahead.
So there's a picture here of the fully functioning gasworks in 1947. That opened in 1907, and it closed down in the mid-50s because they started to pipe in the gas, and they no longer had a process of build it or make it manufactured. That gasworks, Gene, has a sentimental side to it to me, because it did a lot of filming there before they turned it into the park for a film which we're calling Sky River Rock Fire, which is a film will be a compilation of a lot of documentary footage and theatrical footage, which we started in the early 70s, and I promise you, Gene, we're going to get that film finished if I can survive long enough to go into the thousands and thousands and thousands of feet. But so this scene of the Butterfat band performing on one of those wonderful gaswork parks standpipes down there, that goes into the film, and that was taken before it was made into a park. As did the next shot, which is what we call the Butterfat Chorus. Let me see, I think they were all singing Humpty Dumpty to rock and roll. There's a picture in there too of the gasworks spread out where I took it on a beautiful afternoon where the light is just making it golden. Maslin's album, the one he found, starts with a lot of imagery of the King Street gasworks. Actually Jackson Street gasworks. Well, both Jackson and King Street. In fact, the view that we'll show looks down or east on King Street from about 4th Avenue, right when they're destroying it, so that they could build the gasworks at the north end of Lake Union, and then this facility, a lesser facility across right here at the south end of the lake. There's another way of looking at which I particularly like. It's, I think, from 8th Avenue, and it's also in the album, but I'm not totally confident that's where it is, but that would make it over on 8th Avenue and Mercer looking north. And that would put it near where the Denny home was, the pioneer family, Denny and Louisa Denny. And that was then just up here on the other side of the tank, so a block and a half in that direction up Republican. They were there from 71 to, I think, about 90 when they moved up to their mansion, which they lost in 1893 because of the crash. They lost all else too, but that's another story. Another good picture of this gas holder in that album looks at it from the Westlake Viaduct. And here you get a strong sense of how the topography reclaimed land, the landfill has changed so, because when you're looking from the Westlake Trestle, which is now Westlake, south to the standpipe, you can see 8th Avenue, 9th Avenue on the left, and that's all lake practically between there and where the photographer was standing on the trestle. So maybe we'll get down there and take a repeat photograph of that so you can see how it's all filled in. The Westlake Trestle, we'll put a picture of that in too here. This one looks back north on the trestle. It was built in 1890 to take the trolleys out to Fremont. Here's the Brown kids, the two first children of a clarinet player for the Wagner band, and he was also a plumber, and they lived on Dexter. Yeah. And I got a hold of the collection of their family glass negatives from early 20th century, and a lot of them are right in this neighborhood. And there they are in the Tuoleys, the two kids. And that picture has been very, you recognize that picture?
Oh, I do. I've actually retaken it.
Oh, well, let's put that in there.
Okay, I'll put my retake.
Who's in the retake?
Well, it's the children of my neighbor.
Oh, that's right. Another neighborhood, but still children.
Still children.
Oh, clever. And we have the Brown kids and the Tuoleys, the mother splashing down there at the southwest corner before it was filled in. And that splashing is really where they did the landfill in 1918. She's splashing in 1903. They're filling that all in the next picture, it's up probably now, in 1918. Many landfills are little dump sites around the city, and this is typical. I think we have some pictures, a really lovely picture of the Brown family sort of lined up, waiting in that area between Westlake and Queen Anne's southwest corner. All of it filled in now. And behind them you can see the Western Mill. So the Western Mill was the big deal down there. It opened in 1882. David Denny was one of the owners of it. Here's a picture of the Browns where they lived. They're chumming it up inside their home on Dexter. And that home would be in the next picture, which looks from the 1928, the standpipe that's right over here, and looks north over the area that was about to be regraded. So they went up on the standpipe and shot that panorama so that you could see what changes there were going to be. On the far left of it, you can see 9th Avenue, which was regraded in 1911. And on the far right, you can see Dexter, where they lived. And you can't see Republican because it's down below. Here's a picture looking north on 9th Avenue from Denny Way that shows the regrading that was done in 1911. And the same time of the picture of the Denny home that we saw earlier. So they really carved this all out a bit here. It was a precursor of what they would do in 28, 29. What they did is they widened this commercial area down here because it was so busy then. They figured they should give more friendly land to it. And you can see the difference in elevations in this picture of the Graves Grocery, which is at the southwest corner of Westlake and Thomas. And see how steep it goes up there. That's going up to 9th. That same corner now is almost flat. Graves Grocery. That was early 20th century. Another landmark, a surviving landmark in the neighborhood, is the old livery stable for Frederick and Nelson up on Boren between Harrison and Republican. It's still there. We should go up and do an out shot on our way home.
We will.
Let's finish it off with a couple really old pictures of the neighborhood. First of all, the 1882 pan from the top of Denny Hill looking north towards Lake Union, done by Watkins, who was an itinerant Californian, famous photographer. He came here and took a whole bunch of pictures in 92, and he took effectively what's the first picture, panoramic picture that includes Denny Hill, looking north from the top, Lake Union, looking north here from Denny Hill. And then let's follow that with a picture, earliest picture of the coal railroad, which got its start right down here a couple of blocks behind us on the south end of Lake Union to bring coal up, which had been delivered there by scows and little steamers and other devices all the way from the east side. And from here it went up on a narrow gauge railway out to the Pike Street Coal Wharf. So that was really the... This is the car. That's called an ass. What should they call this neighborhood, Gene?
Well,
I don't know the name. Is it the south end of Lake Union? What is it?
I guess it's the south end of Lake Union.
Kind of commonplace and merely descriptive.
Didn't at one point wasn't it the Westlake neighborhood?
Might have been. I think it was also, I know it was for a while sometimes confused or added to the Cascade neighborhood, which is above it to the east.
Where you used to live.
Yeah. And I think other suggested titles, because of so much of it is owned by Paul Allen, is, what is it? Allentown, right? Allenville or Allentown?
Or Amazonia.
Amazonia. And I like that one. I think we'll put that in the article. I think we already have put it in the article. Amazonia, that's my favorite.
What was the movie in which whenever a character... in which, whenever I think this was a Buñuel movie in which whenever a character would say something of significance, a plane would go overhead, drowning them out.
I can remember that. Yeah. What a beautiful surrealist. Yeah. No, I never. We have a slide in there, a picture we can show about of Lake Union, and maybe you can estimate the length of it from that, by the way. But at the bottom of it, it calls this neighborhood the Big Funnel. The Big Funnel. And that's how they're trying to attract buyers to real estate. To come down to this center of commerce, this center of transportation, this conduit of urban vitality. And this is 1902 or 1903. So maybe the Big Funnel. How about people coming up with suggested names for the neighborhood? Come on, you readers or lookers. Come up with some names for this neighborhood. Or do you know of the name that's preferred now? Neither Gene nor I do. Cascadia. I kind of like it. You know, although you can't see the Cascades from here, but we used to have Cascade School up the hill.
You know, we could be very informal and just call the neighborhood Paul.
You make fun of me, sir.
No, after Paul Allen, I wouldn't dream of calling him.
How egotistic of me. Oh, that other Paul.
The other Paul.
Maybe you got some ideas, okay?